It's all right. It's actually not a scary story this time. So, I know. Next time. But I want to kind of change it up before you guys get really tired of me being up here all the damn time.
Never gonna happen.
Let's hope not. Because even if you did, I'd still be here. Anyway, this is a story I wrote, kind of similar to the first time I was up here. Again, I'm going to explain. What you can hear in the background is going to be like a beat. I am not trying to rap. So just in case you think like some of the words are probably going to kind of coincide with the beat, but if you're kind of sitting there like this guy can't rap at all, what is he doing? That's the point. So this this story is called "In Darkness Whence He Came." In distant times, there was a silent town, filled to the brim with silence and awash in an endless night. The people wandered endlessly, ever adrift in a gaze that suggested that they were in wait of something, yet continued on in shallow hope with glaze in their eyes and haze in their spirits. Sometimes they spoke softly of a figure long since vanished. Whispering winds brought meager hints of a longing for a distant voice, as elders spoke of a once-known man that came from within the night's cascade. He spoke with words of liquid dreams and breathed with sounds of smoke. The children sat in awe of this man while the men all stood in trance. Women watched with wistful wonder, and none would break their stance. There was no sound but this man's voice, as the town saw nothing else. He spoke of worlds beyond their own, and cities vast in strength and bone. His words flowed from without his lips, and painting their portraits upon their perfect splendor. When drawn, I have problems with these. But when dawn drew close, he took his leave and spoke of promise to again return. However, as he turned towards the moon, the townsfolk protested. To see him leave, they all detested. They all shouted how he could not leave and expounded ideas of him to become their prophet. The statue was to be built in honor of this man who came in bleakest darkness to flood the town with spoken light. The midnight traveler heard these things and is in his mind rejected, and so he turned to the people once more to speak once again. Now he only muttered gently, so only the closest could hear, and then vanished into the night. It was in darkness in which he came, and it was darkness that he left. For dawn did not rise that day, nor did it do the next. The sun had vanished like the traveler had, and with it took their light. Now there was just a dull pale glow that bathed the town, from fires built to escape the nights left ablaze. The people stood and waited for this man in each passing hour to once again appear in the moonlight. But as each night passed, he never came, just as the ancient voice of the breeze and the darkness ever-present obsidian seas. The proposed statue was still built to keep the people's hope alive. They gathered beneath the traveler's stone feet, and some stood by him to seek penance. Some spoke to it and pleaded, some cursed him, but some still praised him. But they all equally watched for his return, to bring the light back like the tide, ever onwards. Then, one day, when the air was still, a frost billowed into the town. People sought warmth by their fires, but none would stay alight. It seemed now that all luminescence was sucked dry from their home. The night a voracious whirlpool, the moon a laughing jester. But then a figure appeared in the distance, beyond the hills of no man's land, steadily approaching. As it got closer, the people began to stir. Could it be that it is he? A question at first and then certainty. The people rejoiced and praised the traveler, and cheers were heard for miles. The stranger once again walked wistfully through the streets of the dejected town, followed by each inhabitant, wanting to hear him speak. They wished and they hoped and they sat in wait as he walked gently to the statue, staring at it so viciously. He halted finally at the statue's feet, and it was then he turned to speak. They wished, they hoped, they sat and wait. Oh, sorry. And he turned to the people with distress in his eyes and finally spoke. When I spoke to thee, could you not see that this is not what is to be, but you must be free and seek life apart from me? But the town stood still. They could not understand. Where were the stories of history's past, of towers and buildings designed from glass, of architecture unknown to this world and on, and seas that hold creatures now long gone? The traveler sighed and shook his head, for they could not comprehend a light that came from within. It was then he spoke once more. This time was his last. For the traveler told that light would now come, but he would not return, ever onwards. And with that he vanished in a pillar of dreams that descended upon the town. Now it seems that the cursed town could never sleep, but the dawn broke and the sun shone once again. But then the light hit the statue in front of which they stood, and it crumbled to the ground, and ash was all that remained. Whisked away silently by the morning breeze, and from then on the traveler never came, but was kept alive to the legends of the town, passed down to the children and their children the same. They were alive once again with light restored, but each generation passed a familiar sense of longing for a figure to once again appear beyond the hills in the same darkness from whence he once came.